Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 5.3 Notes. Today we're talking about solving linear systems of equation by using substitution. Our learning target today is to be able to solve a system of equations by using the substitution method. Okay, so in 5.2 we talked about solving linear systems by graphing, so this is another way to solve. Okay, so on the right hand side I've already written down all of our steps. So if you want to start copying them down, go ahead. Step number 1 is we need to look for the variable by itself and put parentheses on what it equals to. So the first step is we look for the variable by itself and we put parentheses on what it equals to. Step number 2 is we're going to substitute the parentheses into the other equation, and this is our checkpoint. And then step 3 is we solve for x and y and check the solution. Okay, so I know I kind of went through those kind of quick. If you need a little bit more time, just pause the video. Now we're going to get these started. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so we can look directly at our equations. So step 1, I'm going to write it right up here. Step 1. I need to find the variable that's all by itself. And there we go. See how the y is all by itself? So step 1 would be putting parentheses on what it equals to, and y equals x minus 2. Okay, so is everybody good so far? I didn't really do anything. I just found the variable by itself and I highlighted what it equals to. So step number 2. Step number 1's easy. Here's our equation. We have 4x minus 2y equals 10. Now, we solved for y. Step number 2 says we have to substitute the parentheses, so the x minus 2, into the other equation. So what that means is I have 4x minus 2, and this is where that y was. I'm going to plug in x minus 2, and that's going to equal 10. Okay, so I substituted what y equaled, the x minus 2 right here, and I plugged that in. Okay, so now we solve. Now to solve, we would want to distribute. So we have 4x, negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4, and that equals 10. I would combine my like terms. 4x minus 2x is 2x plus 4 equals 10. And now we would use SADMAP. Okay, so I would subtract the 4 to both sides. We get 2x equals 10 minus 4 is 6. And then the last step would be to divide by 2. And we get x equals 3. Okay, now remember that we're trying to find a point where these work. Okay, that's just my x point. I still need to know what my y is. And the y, to find that, would be step 3. Okay, so we solved for x, and now we're going to go to step 3. Okay, now I know what x equals. I'm going to go back to my original equation, the x minus 2. We found out what x is, so I can just plug in my x now. So y equals 3 minus 2. Well, what's 3 minus 2? 1. And so we get 3, 1. Now before I know 100% that's my answer, we can check it. Okay, now we can do this with either equation, the first one or the second one. I'm going to use the second one because it's a little bit easier. and we're going to plug in the point 3, 1. So y is 1, x is 3. 1 equals, well, 3 minus 2. What's 3 minus 2? 1. Yay! So my answer is 3, 1. Okay? We would say that this is the solution. Okay? It's where those two lines intersect. Okay? So the first thing that we want to do is we find the variable that's by itself. We put parentheses on what it equals. We plug that in, and then we solve. Okay? All right, so for number 1, what variable is by itself? The y is by itself. So we are going to put parentheses around it, and that's step 1. Okay, so the y was by itself, so that's what we're going to plug into. So I'm starting step 2 right now. We're plugging in the x plus 5, and that equals 29. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve. So as I'm solving this, the first step is to distribute. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 5 is 15. We need to combine like terms, which gives us 7x plus 15 equals 29. And then to solve for x, we're going to subtract 15. We get 7x equals 29 minus 15 is 14. And then the last step is divide both sides by 7. And we get that x equals 2. So as we're looking for our solution right here, all I know is that x equals 2. Okay, I need to find out what y is. And so to find out what y is, I'm going to go back to that original equation that we had, the x plus 5. Okay, we just found out what x is, so I'm going to plug it in. And x equals 2. And 2 plus 5? Yeah, we don't have to really do anything. 2 plus 5, 2 plus 5 is 7. Let's make that look like a 7. So our final answer is 2, 7. Okay, and if you don't believe it, check it. Pick one of these. I'm going to use the second equation this time. Okay, so here's my check. We have 4x plus 3y equals 29. And we're plugging in x was 2 and y was 7. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 times 7, which is 21. And 8 plus 21 is 29. So 29 equals 29. Yay, it works. So there we go. All right, number 2. Okay, the y is not always going to be the one that's by itself. Sometimes it's the x. Okay, so the x is by itself, and I'm going to put parentheses around it. That's step 1. That's all we have to do. Now, step 2 is we are going to plug in for the variable. And so x was by itself. That's what I'm going to plug in for. X was equal to y plus 4 plus 7y equals 18. And I forgot to mention it on the last example. I should have. I'm sorry. But this is our checkpoint. Okay. Right here, we should only have one variable. And that one variable are y's. If you have x's in step number 2, an x and a y, you did something wrong. Okay. So we need to distribute. 3 times y is 3y. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 7y equals 18. Okay, let's combine our like terms. 3 plus 7 is 10, so we get 10y plus 12 equals 18. And that's right, we subtract 12 to both sides. Oh, I'm sorry, that's I was wondering, guys, come on, were you yelling at me? That's a negative 18. Negative 18 minus 12 gives us negative 30, and we have the 10y over here. And to get the y by itself, we divide by 10. And we get that y equals negative 3. Okay, so as I'm looking for my answer up here, the only thing we found was y. Y equals negative 3. I need to know what x is. So that's where we go back to our equation. I'm going to plug in for y. So x equals negative 3 plus 4, and negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So we get our answer of 1 comma negative 3. Okay, what do you guys think? Is this that hard? Nah. Alrighty. Number 3. What variable is by itself? That's right, the x is by itself, so I need to put parentheses around the 4y minus 5. Okay, I want to see if you can do the next step by yourself. See if you can plug everything in. And that's it, okay? We'll plug it in and then we'll solve together. Pause the video and good luck. Okay, so just remember right here that you're going to distribute a negative and it's going to be a negative 1. Okay, so if you didn't do that, go back and change it. Okay, and there's all my work to get that y equals negative 1. Okay, and now to figure out what x is, we're going to go back to our original equation. And we know that x, or y, I'm sorry, was negative 1. And now we solve. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. And remember, to find out if you got it right, you can plug it in to one or both of the original equations. Okay? All right, number 4. I want to see if you can do the first step 1 and step 2 all by yourself. Okay? We'll solve it together, but see if you can figure out what variables by itself and substitute it in. Okay? Pause the video and good luck. Okay, so we have negative 3x plus 4 in parentheses, the negative 5/4 x minus 3 equals 20. And remember, this is your checkpoint. I only have x's. That's exactly how I want it. Okay, now we're doing this one together because I know some people freak out because they're fractions. And we're going to have to distribute. Okay, so I'm going to bring the negative 3x down. Now, we're multiplying 4 times negative 5/3. Not 5/3, 5/4. Okay, so that equals a negative 5. Okay, and it's going to be a negative 5x, and 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Okay, so the next step would be to combine our like terms, which is negative 8x minus 12 equaling 20. And now what do? Yeah, we got to solve for x. So we're going to add 12 to both sides. We get negative 8x equals 32. And then how do we get the x by itself? Yeah, we divide by -8. And when we divide by -8, we get that x equals -4. Okay, so that's only part of our solution. I want to see if you guys can get the rest of it on yourself. Okay? How do we do it? I don't know. You tell me. Pause the video. Good luck. Okay, so what we had to do is we had to plug in the -4, and we plugged it into the original equation, the one up on top. We get -5/4 times -4, which is a +5, and then 5 minus 3 is 2. All right, number 5. How comfortable do you guys feel? Do you think you can do step 1 and step 2 completely? Yeah, why don't you try it? Okay, so you're going to find the variable that's by itself, plug it in, and solve. Okay, and then we'll solve the last one together. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so there's all my work. The x was by itself. So I put parentheses around the -2y plus 10, and that's what I plugged into. And before I got started, that was my check right there. All I had were y's. Distribute the 2, we get -4y plus 20 minus y. I combined my like terms to get -5y plus 20 equals 5. Solved for y, and we get that y equals 3. Okay? And no, we're not done, because now I got to find out what x is. And the way I find out what x is I'm going to plug in my y into the x equals -2y plus 10. Okay? So that's where we're plugging in the 3. -2 times 3 is -6. And -6 plus 10 is 4. So our final answer is the point 4, 3. All right, number 6. We've gotten to the point where you guys should be able to do all of the steps, solve everything all on your own. Okay, so I'm going to leave this up to you. You're going to do everything by yourself, and then when you come back, I'll show you the work. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so the y was by itself. I put the -2x plus 7 in the parentheses. I distributed the -2. -2 times -2 is +4, and -2 times 7 is -14. 4 plus 4, we get 8x minus 14, and then following the rules of SADMAP, we get x equals 1. So I go back to that equation, the y equals -2x plus 7. I plugged in the 1. -2 times 1 is -2, and then -2 plus 7 gives us 5. So our answer is y equals, or the 0.15. All right, number 7 and number 8. Guess which one we're going to do together? Yeah, we're going to do number 8. I'm going to make you guys do the super hard one all by yourself. Okay, so for number 8, let's go ahead and get started. We'll do this one together. Okay, I notice that the y is by itself, so that's what I'm going to put inside parentheses. And so we have 7x minus, and then in parentheses, that's where we're going to put the 4/3 x minus 1 equals -33. Okay, so I need to distribute that negative, and that's a -1. Okay, so we have 7x minus 4/3 x plus 1 equals negative 33. Okay, now we need to combine like terms. So I'm just going to do it in my calculator. 7 minus 4/3. And I don't want that. I want a fraction. So I'm going to go math, enter, enter. And so we get 17/3. So I know that 17/3x plus 1 equals negative 33. Now, we're solving using SADMAP, so I'm subtracting the 1. I'm not freaking out. And now to get the x by itself, I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So multiply by the reciprocal. And, well, I'm just going to use my calculator. So I have negative 34 times 3/17. And what do I get? Dun, 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 dun. Negative 6. That wasn't that hard, was it? Okay, so now that I know what x is, I can go back to our original equation, the y equals 4/3 x minus 1. I know what x is negative 6. So we get y equals 4/3 times negative 6 minus 1. And we just go through and solve. All right, we have 4/3 times negative 6, and we get negative 8. And negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. So our answer for that one is negative 6, negative 9. Now, if you want to do number 7 all on your own, go ahead and pause the video. Good luck. Yeah, you should have gotten x is 15 and y is 58. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to stop it right now because it's the end. Now, your homework is 5.3 practice. Oh, look at that. All the answers were down there. I didn't even know that. Okay, so there's your answer or your homework, 5.3 practice. Okay, and there are mixed answers on the bottom. Okay, look at no fractions down there. So if you guys get fractions on something, try it again. All right, well, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra Unit 5.3 Notes. Thanks for watching.